Whoops. All right, you guys, check out Pacers. Pacers Running is amazing. They have several locations all around the D.C. area, Navy Yard, 14th Street, Alexandria, and Clarendon, where we are. Plus, they have amazing shoes. You don't even have to be a serious runner. Just care about and love your feet and want to exercise. Go to runpacers.com to find their locations. And if you're looking for an awesome date night spot, you know Dan, you've seen him on my social media. We've been sharing our date nights with you. Just go to the website datenightsdc.org and take a listen to this. If you're like me, I'm always trying to romance my boyfriend, but lots of times I run out of ideas. Well, you'll find 100 plus date ideas, deals for couples, and so much more when you visit datenightsdc.org. Do date night right. Visit their website today. All right, Paul Wharton. Woo!
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear every day? Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear
every day?
Hey, phrase. What's the phrase that you hear?
Donna.
Tune in, yeah, you gotta tune in. Sarah Fraser on the mic and she about to begin. The co-host with the most
Paul Wharton looking fleek.
Take it from me, you should be listening.
Live from the nation's cap, pop culture at its best.
No need a second guess, separated from the rest. Entertaining nonetheless, many topics to address. And she's a glamorous, the number one hostess.
Hi, you guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh my God, not a thing. Welcome to the Hey Frase podcast along with Paul Wharton. I'm Sarah Fraser. We host it every single week for you, all about pop culture news of the week. Oh my God, and our insane lives. And today we have so much mail, like email and messages. Oh my God, people are fired up about this show.
I love it.
People are very upset and outspoken about my Adderall addicted friend. There is a gentleman, we think, or maybe it's a woman, who is perhaps Kevin Clash himself. We don't really know.
Allegedly,
who has some choice words for you.
Yeah, okay.
And then we also have a person who was brave enough to write us and tell us that I think this email was basically saying that they partially regret having kids.
Okay, I
because
want to hear about that.
It's an ongoing discussion on this show. What have you decided? You know, I'm going back and forth about having children, but I'm in love with Dan, so it's like really hard for me. And Dan really wants a kid, so I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? And then what's your deal? Have you decided one way or the other? Are you like strongly no kids or strongly kid?
I don't think it's for me. I think if I ever did it, I would adopt kids when they're like 15 or 16. Right before they get their driver's license.
That's right. I love that theory.
All right, now, are you 15 or 15 and 9 months? Because if you can get your learners, that'll at least get me home from the bar.
That's right. That's my favorite thing. So we have all that to come on the podcast and so many great stories to discuss. I absolutely love this opinion piece of a woman who's basically saying, stop inviting me to your goddamn birthday party and asking me to pay for you. But I want to know how you feel about this.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't know because, you know, my last birthday, I talked to you about this. Because I've thrown all these big birthdays over the years, and I invite people, and I end up spending thousands of dollars on these birthday parties, and then I'm like, wait, well, where are the people? After the fact. Do you know? Like, after the fact, the phone is silent. It's only the same 5 people I always talk to texting me.
And this is really funny. Like, this will get it. I can't even remember. I guess at your birthday party, we bought our own drinks, right? Was it free champagne? But
well,
you did
no,
buy your own drinks?
I bought some of the drinks. So basically
Okay.
what I did is I subsidized the expensive champagnes. So we had like really expensive because a lot of my friends like good champagne.
Mm-hmm.
So for the bottles that were like $150, $300 bottles, I paid $100 on them. So then they cost you all $150.
Oh, okay, got it.
And then I bought all the liquor, like the what's it called, the drink that we have there. Kind of the signature drink.
I don't remember. Oh,
the
okay.
signature cocktail.
Yeah, there was like a Paul Wharton cocktail.
And then I bought $500 worth of the food, the past order.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Well, then you're halfway right on this article.
Right.
Basically, the article is saying that people need to stop inviting people to shit and then going, hey, I need you to pay for yourself and pay for the hostess.
Now, there's 2 different things there you're talking about, though. Is this article saying people shouldn't, invite you to their party and ask you to pay for them, or if somebody invites you to their birthday party, you shouldn't have to pay anything because it's their birthday party? There's 2 different things there.
Okay. And we'll get into that because basically this article is saying, like, if I'm throwing the party, I need to pay for everybody. Like, if I want a 30th birthday party for myself, I need to stop going, hey, you come, but you pay for your own brunch, or, you pay for drinks. Oh, and by the way, I need you to pay for me.
No, but you keep throwing that by the way on there. That makes it a totally different thing.
What do you mean?
You keep saying, by the way, I need you to pay for me. But is it okay to invite someone to your birthday party and they expect to pay for what they have, their own stuff?
This article is saying no. So this article is basically saying...
What do you think?
I kind of agree with that.
You agree with that? Do you think everybody has... But people want to have big birthday parties. But people turn 25, they don't have money for like 100 people.
But then this article is basically saying, stop fucking having it or have it for 5 people.
So don't have a birthday party? Fuck that. I don't agree. No, I don't agree. It's just you're poor, you can't have fun? I mean...
No, they're saying have fun in a reasonable budget. So if you want a 25th, instead of inviting 50 people and you cannot afford to pay for a buffet for all of them to eat and your cake, they're saying have 5 people that you can afford to pay, because you're basically in today. This article is basically saying in today's society, people have to spend money on an Uber or cab to get out, right?
They're going to do it anyway because they want to go out, because they want to drink, they want to party, they want to hook up. Go ahead.
Then when it's your birthday party, I don't get a say in where it is. You're basically saying, look, we're doing this at the Ritz. It's my party, come. And not that I'm using you as an example, but I'm saying what most people are doing today is they're going, okay, my birthday's at the Ritz, and so it's $30 brunch for everybody, bottomless mimosas, and then what they usually do is appoint someone as the money collector who goes around, harasses everybody for their take.
That's too much. That stresses me out. No, the reason why, if I did a birthday party at the Ritz, I actually would pay for that, to be honest. I did my party at Hogo, which is like a bar where you can get a drink for $6. You know, because I know people can afford that kind of thing. If they didn't want what I was buying them, then they could buy their own drinks. But I don't believe that a 25-year-old should have to have a party for 5 people because they can afford to pay for 5 people. You might have 50 people in your life that really want to hang out with you, and they don't mind throwing 20 bucks up to have a good party.
Those people need to get together themselves and all decide, okay, all 50 of us are going to pay for you, Sarah, or you, Paul, for your 25th birthday. We're all going in together. All you need to do, Sarah, is show up, or it's a surprise. But this article is saying people don't do that anymore. Because of the brunch culture and everything, everybody wants this big over-the-top birthday, or, you know, like now they have like the gender reveal party, they have the baby shower, then they have the, what is it, sip and see the damn baby? No, I'll see it online.
Well, the bottom line is, if you get an invite for a party, let me just break it down like this, okay? First thing, do you care about the motherfucker sending you the invite? First off, okay? Yes, no, maybe. If you're a maybe, look at the place. If you want to eat there, if you want to drink there, go. If you don't. So that's the option you have. Yeah, the person picks their place. Of course they do. They can't expect it. People, oh, where do you think we should go?
But here's the thing is, when your friends do this, because my friends have notoriously done this, and I only threw one birthday for myself, the 30th birthday party, and I paid for everything. Because I agree with this article. And stop inviting me. I don't want to get there, and then what everybody does now is send you a Venmo. Oh, hey, I need $25 for so-and-so's fucking 38th birthday. I don't care. At 38, if you can't put down $6,000 to pay for 30 people, then have 4, but stop asking me to pay the $35 for your brunch.
There's nothing in between. I'm really surprised to hear you say this. I don't think this is very mindful of you. I think the birthday is all about celebration, and it's easier for 50 people to throw up $20 than one person to pay $1,000.
I think it's the point. The thing is like the ask though is like it's just. I think it's annoying.
You know what I think the problem is? People come out for a celebration and they sit up there with their lips all pursed up, pissed off that they got to pay anything. They're coming out for the wrong reasons. When you really love someone, when you really are their friend, you don't mind throwing the $20 or $30. Really, honestly, that's the bottom line.
Okay, I'd rather have fewer people like love me, or I'd rather love fewer people, because I get asked all the time, and I'm like, I like you, but I don't want to pay $40 for your brunch.
I don't mind popping through someone's. This is what happens usually, okay?
But I don't really go out, and this is why.
Right. So let me just tell you what happens when you're home sleep. What happened was, in real life, my friends who are moneyed, okay, so the ones that have serious deep pockets, they'll have these parties and they'll pay for all that stuff. So the ones that even do have some bucks, what they'll do is they'll have a party and they will serve you what they choose to serve you. They'll pay. You can have the option to not pay for anything. You'll have food, you'll have drink, but it may not be a complete open bar. You just have any old thing you want. If you don't like the signature cocktail, if you don't like the wine that they're pouring or whatever, then you can order off the menu and get your own check. And I think that that's fair.
Oh my God. I would love, this is like the days when I wish we had a live studio audience because I want to know what people think. Okay, wait, no, we do have two women that are like a little younger than 25. But you guys are, I feel like you two are in that brunch culture and in that baby culture and in the wedding culture. And that's the thing. I've had many good girlfriends who I love dearly, but even like when you get a bill for $400 because you're going on their bachelorette party and everyone's going to pay, and they like design the whole thing and they just send you the bill. You're like, I love you, but really?
Are we talking $40 or $400?
No,
what are we talking here? That's a big difference, right?
Yes.
What are we
I
talking
don't want to
here,
pay
sir?
either. I mean, because
You
honestly,
don't?
like I would, no, when I get married, I am not having a bachelorette party. I'm not doing any of that crap. I'm not putting people out like that. Like,
I think everybody should pay for their own bachelorette party and their own. Well, definitely your baby
Yes,
shower, right? You don't have your
1,000.
friends pay for your baby shower, but birthdays
some of mine
happen
have.
all the time. Birthdays happen all the time. So,
okay,
AJ,
what do you guys think? Yeah.
Yes. So this happened to me. This was one particular time that I was like, are you kidding me? So we go out to dinner, and it's this nice exclusive restaurant in D.C. It's in Georgetown.
a birthday?
It was for a birthday party,
Okay.
yes. And I worked with a girl. I went to high school with her. So I knew all of the girls from high school are going to be there. And at this time, I wasn't making a lot of money. And I was going with the intention of just, okay, I'm going to get myself a salad. I'll get water and no extra charge. We get there. Everybody is getting the entrees that are like $30 plus $40. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to look like the bitch that orders, oh, I'll just take a house salad. Yeah, thank you. No, so I ordered myself an entree, and I was like, oh, God, looking at the prices, like $32, $45.
What can I
and
get?
Of course, they tell me, oh, the lamb is the best, and the octopus entree, which of course are the
Right.
two most expensive ones. So I'm like, you know what? Forget you guys. Anyways, I settle with a middle of the road one.
Get you guys.
I settle with a middle of the road one. I order it, and then conveniently, the birthday girl goes to the bathroom when the check comes. So I've already bought her.
Right.
So I decided for a middle of the road meal and a drink for her. It was like a fancy like little drink, and that was going to be my present to her. And then somebody decides, you know, that one person that just drops the bomb on you, like, oh my God, guys, let's just split her meal. And she also got a dessert, so let's just split everything. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, my card's going to bounce. Like, it's not going to go through. I'm going to get rejected in front of all these girls.
So it happened. So, okay.
So, yeah.
So
anyways,
wait, so were there like 10 girls?
there was 10 girls.
So
We
did
all
they
split
say
the
just
check.
Split the check evenly.
Yes. And I'm
Okay,
thinking,
well, see, I'm not down with that. Well, someone like
Because
me,
people
maybe,
order
but
drinks and I order
don't
just
think
water.
It's fair. I don't think it's fair for certain people. They get out at these restaurants. There was this guy who pissed me off. We went to RPM with all these ladies.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's
this
a good
guy
spot.
rolls in and he's like, I want the lobster ravioli. Before they even handed us menus, he's like ordering champagne. He's drinking 3 to my 1.
Yeah.
He's ordering all this lobster and
Yes.
shit. And then at the end, he's like, okay, how many of us are there? So what is it? And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. You motherfucker, we had salami, you had lobster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I totally hear you guys. Leslie, do you have a story? Leslie's Puerto Rican. What do they do in Puerto Rico?
Did your card bounce? Was it okay?
Yeah. Yeah, what
so you want to know, Paul? Do you want to know?
Did you make it out?
Yeah. So he goes back. Goes, ma'am. I go. Go back. Go back to the right. You tried that card again. You tried that card again, sir.
Take 10 off of that.
So, anyways, I had to change from my saving. I had to go on the app. I go, don't worry, guys. I'll just go to the app and just change some stuff. So yeah, I changed it over.
You had to move some
Finally,
funds around.
I had to move the funds around. The funds were funny.
Hold on, wait.
And we had to
what
move
time
them around.
is it in Switzerland? Hold on, let me just count. Okay, 6, carry the 1. Oh, okay, hold up. I forgot.
You know why? That's why. Because in Switzerland, my Swiss bank accounts.
You are this
Yeah.
article. They're basically talking about how people now dip out. Like they're like,
Yes.
oh, I'm gonna go to the ATM, and then all these bitches leave. Like,
Yeah,
it's just-
yeah.
So it
What
all worked
happens
out.
in Puerto Rico? Is anything different? What's a Puerto Rican culture like? I mean, I know you're American, but
I think in Puerto Rico, everyone
get closer
pays
to
for
that mic. Get right on
In
that.
Puerto Rico, everyone pays for their stuff, and then they split the birthday person check.
Okay, so,
So if
you're
if I drink 3 times as much as you and have the extra fancy meal, then I would still split it evenly?
Yeah, like you wouldn't pay for anything.
No, not
Our
my
friends.
birthday. I'm just there hanging out. It's her
Exactly.
birthday.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
wouldn't be gluttonous
you-
and over order.
You pay for your stuff, and then the birthday girl, like her check will be split in her friends with her friends.
Got it. See, you're
That's
this
in
article
Puerto
too. And there's a new hashtag guests don't pay hashtag that is started by Michelle Singletary, who wrote this article and basically saying, stop
She
asking
doesn't
me.
have very many friends. Can we talk about
Michelle,
the over
I'll be your
ordering?
friend. I'll be
I
your
want to talk about over ordering
with
because
you,
we had
girl.
this conversation at a restaurant, didn't we?
over ordering. Okay, yes, I'm guilty of this all the time. This is basically when you go and you're like, oh, I'm going to order all these things because I think I'm hungry, but then I eat 2 things, right?
No, it's like, well, maybe this is a man thing. Cause
What do
like,
you do?
Well, I'm the man, and so, usually the girls that work with me or for me, whatever, are out with me.
Okay.
So then we go to restaurants, And then I get in there and, it's not the expectation that I pay, but when you're the man, you kind of have to pay. But it pisses me off sometimes, and I call them out on it. Like, if I'm going in and having, like, a salmon salad, you can't get the damn ribeye. Like,
No.
you know what I mean? Back that shit up. No shrimp cocktail. If I'm having a club soda with a lime, you don't order no motherfucking Manhattan at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And, I told you the one girl did that, and I'm like, okay.
Yes, I've heard this. Yeah, go on.
This is too much. It's just too much. So then I end up, saying, "Oh, really? Okay, we're not fucking, right?" I mean, you know what I'm saying? I know I'm a man in your life, but I'm not the man in your life.
Oh my God.
And then it ends up being an awkward situation for everybody, and then we sit there, quiet for the rest of the lunch, and I still have to pay. Shit.
Okay, I feel like this etiquette class could go on and on. You can always weigh in. And by the way, you guys have given us so much feedback over the past week. You can hit us up by email. It's sarah@heyfrase.com. It's paulwhartonstyle@yahoo.com. You'll also find us on Instagram, heyfrase, and at Paul Wharton. Is it Paul Wharton Style on Instagram? Okay, got it. So definitely let us know how you feel about the hashtag guests don't pay. Are you for it? Are you against it? We need to know. What? You got one more thing?
I just wanted to say. Okay. This is so interesting because this actually just happened out in Cleveland. Okay, so.
Oh, we're sharing it.
We're sharing. Okay, so we go out and, I had this big book signing, and afterwards we all go, there's this table of 20 people, like, party of 20. We go to this restaurant, nice restaurant, and my mom's like, listen, everybody just pay for themselves. And I'm like, okay, that's gonna work. Like, I come in here with all this blowout, and this did a book signing that sold out. You think everybody's gonna want to pay for themselves? We'll see. Do you know what I mean? So we sit there at the table, and me and my sister is getting closer to the check time, and we see some people like not ordering cocktails. Now, when I say, oh, I'm treating everybody, because a lot of times I'll go out with, big groups of people there.
Right.
And I say, oh, it's my treat. Child, they got double Patrons, they doing shots, or they ordering champagne. Now, I didn't say, and my mom was like, oh, everybody pay for themselves. Look, it was so many ice waters on that table. I was like, oh my goodness. So my sister and I are texting each other back and forth. And I'm like, uh-oh, this is going to be interesting at check time, And so my mom and I kind of got into it because she's like, I'm like, well, I'll pay for everybody that I can see in front of me. There was like 12 people.
Oh my God, that's very generous of you.
So there were 6 people on the end, and there was a man down there, and that was his family.
Okay.
So his mom, his wife, his child, and 2 people that were with them. So I said, send him a check for the 6. The rest of the table, there's 18 people at the table. I'll pay for the 12. And then there was a table behind us that had 6 with my aunt there and some other people, but some people I didn't know. So then my mom is like, well, if you're paying for 12, why don't you just pay for everybody? And I'm like, well, because that's the difference between $500 and $1,500. Like,
right,
just let me do. And so then I looked at her and I was like, well, you can pay for it.
What'd she say?
She was like, what? No, you pay for it.
So what happened? Did you end up paying?
Well, I ended up paying for the people
the 12
in front of me, and then it was all this confusion, and everybody was like had a attitude. So no, it's tough being the man, and I don't know that with women. Do you feel that same pressure?
Yeah.
Do you?
Well, I think yeah, absolutely, and I think it's more to like I don't know if it's self-imposed or not, but I think you get to a certain age, you have your own business or whatever, and I think it's a level of people are like, oh, well, you can afford it, and you're like, it's not really about if I can afford it or not. It's just that I don't really feel like I need to be offering to pay for everybody. But but then again, at times...
You're saying that, but I know you must succumb to the pressure sometimes.
No, I do. And that's the thing, is like, I would hate, like when we're out with our interns or whatever, I'm like, I'm not going to make our interns pay. Like, that's terrible.
I've seen you do. Actually.
When?
What?
I said, no, I was going to say Sarah is very, very generous, and so are you, Paul.
So am I?
Yes.
Who's more generous?
Okay, so now we're not going to, you're splitting us up.
Oh, yeah.
Paul, you're splitting us up again.
I'm about to pick a new favorite.
Interns pay. I have you pay. You make money too. You make it sound like we're not making money together. I'm like,
No. I'm not talking about us. But we have been to little coffee bars and stuff, and the interns, I'm like, why are they behind us in line? You're like, oh, A coffee and a cookie, please.
I have never
No?
done that.
Okay.
No.
Oh, maybe that was earlier on.
Patting me on the
earlier on.
shoulder. Anyway, we've already spent like 20
I know, it's
This
tough.
one was a good one. But okay, we got to talk some other pop culture stories because I want to know your opinions. First of all, I wanted to actually ask you this, even though the Super Bowl was on Sunday, I debated going back and forth because I know people are kind of over it. But there was so much discussion about Janet Jackson on Sunday, of course, not appearing at the Super Bowl. Do you, and you're a JT fan and a Janet Jackson fan, right,
More
Paul?
Janet Jackson, yeah.
Do you think there is any hope? Have we given up all hope that Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake will ever be reunited?
Well, he said that they've talked. One thing that I don't agree with is people say, look, he went on and had this amazing career and she was banished. Okay, wait a minute. Like, in what world was Janet Jackson banished? She just had an amazing world tour. I know it's been many years later, but it was a world tour.
She's had a
put it on
baby. She
pause
married
to
a
have the
billionaire.
baby. Yeah, she's
Divorced him now, but
she's fine. Look, Janet is coined up. And even more than that, like, she's an icon. I don't even consider them in the same category. Like,
I don't
consider
either.
Janet Jackson, like, way up higher than Justin Timberlake.
I agree with you 100%. But Justin Timberlake is still getting trolled about it, basically, and saying, his career's done. It was a pretty lame show. And on top of that essentially he has nothing, really hasn't done anything to help black women because he could have kind of righted that ship a little bit.
How?
Because when that whole thing happened, Janet got all the heat for basically from
Okay.
CBS, from the audience of like how distasteful. Now Janet was tapped to do the 2001 Super Bowl. So it was her show and Justin was just a guest. So a little bit I can see why people are like, well, it's Janet's fault because it was Janet's show. But at the same time, sort of the thought has always been that Justin Timberlake walked away from that completely unscathed, went on to have like Cry Me a River success, all that stuff, and
Well,
never...
it's white privilege for you.
I know.
I mean, what do you want me to say?
Yeah. No, that's
maybe
what
it
I just
is.
wondered. Like, do you think that?
But I don't think that that's on Justin's part. I mean, he seems like a very cool guy. He's like Mr. Diversity. He's got all sorts of people around him, and I think even on top of that, he's really talented. He sings,
Yeah,
he dances,
he
he gets people up and moving, and that's what he's good at. So I just don't think that it should be like black or white.
I know. Yeah, no. I totally hear you. I just didn't know if you had like strong thoughts on that either way. And I just find it interesting people's opinions on that because it's definitely a pop culture moment that, happened 2011 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
More than 10 years ago. And yet still sort of haunts his career. So I just find that fascinating.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
People just don't want to move on.
Are you surprised that the Me Too backlash has started? There's a big article out this week that basically says that more and more companies are advising men not to get into rental vehicles with female coworkers alone. They're also saying that more and more lobbyists, staffers on the Hill, are having meetings where they say that they need to have their aide present if they are meeting with a female. On top of that, companies are cutting back on less and less travel with mixed gender. So they're saying like they'll send all the women to Florida this time or all the men, but they will not send groups together. And if they do, the women have to stay at an entirely separate hotel than the men. Do you think this is like going crazy?
Great, more for me. Yes, in fact, I agree with these policies, Sarah. I agree that the women should go and stay in their own hotels and stop pestering us men. We just want to be together in the steam in the sauna.
Well, this is like your dream because more companies are. They're saying the backlash has officially
I support
started
this
for
policy.
women.
Now, let me ask you something. Before you were in a relationship, before I was with
Dan?
Did you, when you went on the work trips, because, sometimes
Yeah,
people
we
just
used to go all the
really
time.
want to get away. They want to get away, and, people are working so much, and I said this about Matt Lauer, even though he's a total loser, but I did say that, people work so much, 12, 16 hours a day. They're doing everything at work. They're working, they're having friendships, they're fucking. Like, they do everything at work because they're at work all the time. They go home, they sleep, they come back, work is their whole life. So when you went on these work trips, you're a woman. Like, did you make any moves on any of the guys?
Okay, do you remember who I used to work with? It was radio.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
There's no, but we did go on lots of work trips.
Yeah.
And if there was someone hot there, I would have been making moves, but there really wasn't. No, but here's the thing. Like I worked in radio, which I've been open with, it is the worst business, right?
Okay.
I've witnessed a ton of sexual harassment. It was completely a vulgar environment, but I participate in that. Like
Yes.
I'm not, that stuff doesn't bother me when men talk about like other women or who they find hot or whatever. And in fact, we'd always talk, like we had these really cute guy interns we were always talking about. So I am not, you and I always get in trouble when we talk about this because we're sort of not sensitive to it. Mm-hmm. But it never bothered me. And I stayed in the same hotel as all those guys. Everybody was very respectful in radio. I never had any issues. I don't know. But, like I was reading Uma Thurman. Did you get a chance to read that in New York Times?
Tell me
Basically,
about it.
Uma Thurman had a big article come out. A lot of people are just like, why isn't Harvey Weinstein in jail? Essentially, Harvey Weinstein twice tried to sexually assault her. He had like a steam room situation where he wanted her to come in. She was fully dressed. He basically exposed himself, wanted to jerk off in front of her. She said no. And then another time he actually pushed himself on her. And she was like, got away. And essentially, so she's standing up for these other women. And I just have never been in that. I mean, thank God. I completely believe these women. It's insane. I don't know who would want to be an actor or an actress. Hollywood sounds awful. Then she goes on to talk about how Quentin Tarantino, basically, she alludes to the fact that he sort of got some sort of sick pleasure by when she was in Kill Bill. Like, he enjoyed watching her get physically hurt, which is really fucked up.
I got to ask Vivica about that, actually.
Yes, she was in that. Yeah. Oh, my God. She'd be great.
I'll ask her. I'll see her tomorrow.
Oh, my God. You need to definitely do an interview with her.
Yeah, I will.
Yes, I will. Anyway, so the backlash is officially started. Paul, do you care about the most hated companies in America?
Well, I don't know. Read me a couple. Let's see if
this survey.
I have a relation.
This survey was done by CBS News, but it was also looked at and based on employee reviews, customer surveys, events that have happened in the past year, and also public perception. Okay. So I'll give you some of the. We'll just cut to the top 10. They list all 20, but top 10: Cigna, the insurance company. Spirit Airlines was the ninth worst.
Never would do that. Do you ever do that?
I feel like I've been on Spirit once. Did I take Spirit? I'm trying to think of where it was. Yes, I have taken it once, and it was awful.
That's for people that are into self-torture. I mean,
yeah, really.
Why would you want to put yourself through that? And then don't the prices like pop up as soon as you have one bag?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like $150 for a bag. It's such a ripoff. Vice Media made the list. Sprint. I was surprised to hear that people don't like Sprint. They say poor customer experiences. Really?
Wow, better than AT&T, which is charging me a fortune.
I was going to say I have AT&T too. Foxconn Technology.
Foxconn?
I don't know who Foxconn is. Many may not know the name, but the company makes and assembles consumer electronics for entities including Apple and Nintendo. Electronic Arts is a video game maker. They're the 5th worst to work for. University of Phoenix.
Oh, the online university. Wow.
I was thinking about approaching them to be an advertiser.
Okay.
I was like, who wants to go to school?
We'll help save their reputation.
They say federal and state probes alleging it used deceptive practices. You're kidding. It did?
No way.
Third was the NFL, of course. Number 2 is Fox Entertainment Group. We have no comment. No comment. We're moving right on, but basically they say...
I have a nice experience there.
Roger. I actually do too. I mean, I laugh.
It's like a big family. In family, sometimes there's some are dysfunctional. But I don't really have very much dysfunction there. I actually enjoy myself over there.
I do too.
Now, that can change in a minute, so don't fuck with me, people.
They're mostly citing public perception, of course, Roger Ailes, and the many, many ongoing sexual harassment lawsuits and claims that Fox is still dealing with. And of course, number 1 was Equifax that jeopardized basically 145 million Americans' identities this year. So that was it. Do you think it should be a crime to give a police officer the middle finger? Or
no.
do you think it's your freedom of speech?
It's my freedom of speech. If it's not a crime to give another person the middle finger, then it shouldn't be a crime to give a public servant a middle finger. This
is actually a lawsuit that is happening. A self-employed carpet cleaner from rural western Indiana was driving his car through a town last August when he spotted an Indiana State Patrol officer zooming up ahead of him. Right, so basically cuts him off. Okay. As May slowed at an intersection, the police vehicle, as I said, aggressively cut him off. And May thought, according to the federal lawsuit, that if he'd pulled that maneuver in front of the police officer, he himself would have been pulled over.
Sure.
So as May drives by, he ends up flipping the trooper the middle finger. The universal signal digit gesture of a contempt is now the center of a federal lawsuit.
Okay.
May filed last week against the man behind the patrol car's wheel. Indiana State Police Officer Master Trooper Matt Ames. According to the legal complaint, after seeing May's middle finger, Ames went after the driver, issuing him a ticket for, oh my gosh, I'm not going to say
Provocation?
it right. Provocation, thank you. But May's middle finger is his constitutional right, his attorney from the American Civil Liberties Unions argue. What do
Okay.
you think? But
I think some of these cops are out of control. Now, I love police officers. I have them as friends. I've slept with some of them. You know who you are. You know, don't ask, don't tell. I'll keep it cute as long as you keep sliding my tickets through. But you know, I tell you, sometimes the police thrive in fear and their position in the community to incite like fear in people. And I was telling you, when I was sitting in my car not that long ago, remember? And the cop pulls up to me and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, what are you doing?"
Yeah, that's right.
And then he pulled over and he's like, "Driver's license registration." I was like, "You better Google somebody," you know. And
then what did he end up doing? He let you off, right?
he let me go.
And you didn't.
I wasn't doing anything. I was talking on the phone, laughing and having a great day, enjoying the sunshine and having a cappuccino in my car.
Yes, that's right.
And I was parked in a legal space, and he was just like, "What are you doing?" I guess my head was bobbing around too much. He's like, "This one right here."
I just find that, I mean, I think it's the guy's right to flip him off, right? I mean, of course I understand it's disrespectful, like nobody wants to be flipped off, but then I always wonder this, or maybe this isn't a good argument, but I always think like, okay, if you're gonna flip an officer off, I mean, I don't know. You're asking for it, right?
I mean,
don't you
I
think?
wouldn't do it as a black man. I wouldn't do it. I mean, so that would be my reason. I would talk about you like a dog within the confines of my own car, but I wouldn't flip you off.
This guy May won his legal battle in criminal court, but he's headed back to court because he says that the court appearances cost him 2 days of work. He's now suing for an unspecified amount of damages. Mark May's gesture to Master Trooper Ames was expressive conduct that was fully protected by the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. Master Trooper Ames had no grounds whatsoever to initiate the stop of Mr. May, and the traffic stop represents a seizure implicating the Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. So I'm with you. I wonder if he'll win anything in civil court.
What's your experience been with the cops? All good?
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? And like even, I mean, the one time, and I've told this story many times over the years, but I did lose my license, for 6 months You're like, what?
What in the world?
So when I turned 30, and I was driving back and forth to the radio station early in the morning, I did have the same cop pick me up 4 times within, I think it was like a 1.5 year period of time.
Pick you up? Pull you over or pick you up?
Pull me over.
Okay.
Pick me up. I guess that must be a New England term. We always would say, "Oh, did you get picked up?" But you're right. That's a different one. I was not having sex with him. But anyhow, in whatever, D.C. and Maryland have restitution or whatever, so they reported it, and I had so many tickets within a 1 year period of time.
You were just speeding.
I automatically lost my license. Yeah.
So you were speeding.
I mean, the guy was an asshole, but I mean, I was never like asked to get out of the car, and the reality was I was actually speeding.
Did you curse him out?
No,
Did
I
you
had
act
to go.
annoyed?
No, I think I always tried to like smile. I always tried to be polite, but this guy wasn't having it.
You pull your tits out?
No, but I should have.
Just kidding. Send emails. We'll just remind you of our emails.
Always send emails. Yeah, I had to go to court, but he didn't show up. So amazingly.
Oh, that's happened to me before.
Amazingly, I actually won my license back, but I lost it for like 2 months. It was terrible. It was like the worst 2 months of my life. I got a bicycle.
That was before Uber, wasn't it?
I think it was when Uber just started, and I got a bike, and I was like, oh, cool. I will ride into work with Sammy, and then I'll bike home. But someone ended up stealing my bike like 3 months ago. It's really bad. It was really bad. We have a big event, speaking of awards, where we can honor her with some diamond studs this Friday night.
That sounds great.
Mervis.
Yeah, Books and Bling this Friday night, February 9th from 5 to 8 p.m. at the Mervis DC store, which is 1700 K Street Northwest. We're going to have so much fun. Cocktails, food. If you haven't picked the perfect Valentine's Day gift, just come. There's gifts, from $350 all the way up to, hey, whatever you're working with.
$350,000, whatever you got.
Yeah, but most people buy the smaller gifts for Valentine's Day.
Like a nice bracelet.
Something nice. If you haven't worked that out yet, come meet us on Friday night. We're going to be there having fun. If you haven't already gotten a copy of my book, you can do so online, or you can get it in person and send your receipt to contest@pullingitalltogether.com, or you can actually enter that night to win a pair of diamond earrings from Mervis. So come on out and see us.
Someone's getting them. Someone's winning that night. I can't wait. Yes, please do. There's more details, paulwhartonstyle.com, also on heyfrase.com under events. So check on that and you can RSVP, but we will definitely see you on Friday night. Romance. You guys know I'm in love with love. Seriously. I mean, I don't know if my boyfriend loves that, but I am. Which is why I'm obsessed with datenightsdc.org. Their website is great. You guys have heard me talking about it. How much do you love it? Have you been on and experiencing some of the cool date ideas they have? They're so good. And if you haven't, you need to take out your phone right now. Boom, boom, boom. datenightsdc.org. Go on their site. You're going to thank me later. Date Nights DC shines a light on the romantic side of the nation's capital. And not only that, they have 100 plus date night ideas and great deals for couples. Yes, I love romance and being practical. Not only that, they got hotels, restaurants, museums, and attractions. They put together this fantastic list that you are going to absolutely love. And so many ideas on there. Go to datenightsdc.org and do date night right in DC. Yes, please. I'm all about it. datenightsdc.org. Check them out today. Paul, look, I know you don't wear tampons, but there's a lot of women that listen to this show.
Jesus.
I know you could care less, but anyway, I'm really fascinated by this because there's a new tampon design that is coming out, and essentially it's a tampon and a pad in one. It's called Tamp Liner. So essentially, you put the. You're not having it?
I mean, go ahead.
Okay. So I'm dying to see if the women on this show would wear this because it has a really.
Why would you do both?
Well, because this is like TMI. I know you're not going to want to know this. But lots of times, like when you have heavy flow, even when you put a tampon in, like basically there's leakage. Yeah. So
people normally wear like a panty liner, right?
Right, exactly. So you've always got to wear those. So this is basically the tampon is attached to the panty liner. And doesn't this sound amazing?
So this is only for people with the heavy flow.
Yes.
Okay, I got it.
This is what it looks like. I'm sorry. Is everyone else? No one else here has got like a heavy flow.
Are you excited about this?
Yes, I was so excited. I'm like, where do I buy these? A new type of tampon is about to hit the market. And it's, like I said, it's called Tamp Liner. Okay. Oh my God, I can't wait. But I think I believe it's in the UK first. It was created by a gynecologist who was frustrated with the lack of choice on the market. This is what it looks like.
Okay, I'm not.
Isn't that amazing? Okay, ladies. Our other interns, would you guys be wearing our interns and videographer and producer? I don't even know what the fuck you guys are wearing.
Really?
Would you guys wear this?
Just call them Emily.
Emily's.
I just don't know how it works. Do you guys know that line?
Well, that part goes inside, and this part lays in your panties.
This is just upside down. You know what I'm saying? So
got it.
Yes.
Okay, because the picture's a little bit.
Well, it looks like a hat right now. It looks like a hat or some sort of like a drink, like a
they
drink umbrella.
They don't seem to be responding to it.
I know they're not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not my fault that I have a wide set vagina and a heavy flow.
This sounds. Look.
I need to go.
It's amazing.
She just said she had a wide set vagina. What does that mean?
It's from the Mean Girls, the movie.
See, you insert. I thought that was real about your vagina. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I can relate.
Oh, okay.
I can so relate.
No wide set vagina here.
How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know?
Yeah,
you know if your dick is thick. You know if you got girth.
You mean it means you're wide. You have a wide set vagina. You're a little bit,
Well, that means you've been around.
Hole. You've been around the block a couple times.
You've been around the block. Doesn't it retract to its original size?
Is that really true? Like, I never know. Sex? I need to have a lot more sex.
Can't you re-virginize yourself after like not having sex for about a year?
Yeah, and now people, they put those like quinoa ball, or whatever,
Kegel exercise
balls up there and everything, tighten up your vag. Yeah.
I saw that on. I saw that actually on Real Housewives of Atlanta. By the way, this Sunday night. Wait, is it this Sunday night? Yeah, this Sunday night. I'm on Watch What Happens Live on Bravo.
You are?
Yes, I'm bartending.
Oh my God, Paul!
So I have my book on there.
This the whole time. Holy shit!
Yeah, this Sunday night I'll be on Andy Cohen's show. It's at 11 o'clock after Real Housewives of Atlanta, and on Bravo. I'm going to LA tomorrow.
Okay.
And then I'm going to fly from LA to New York.
That will be so awesome.
Yeah.
Do you know, like, so when you're booked on a show like that,
I'm going to fly back here, have our party, and then go to New York.
So when you do that, though, do you already know what cocktail you're making? Like, do you get to pick the cocktail, or does, like, Watch What Happens Live, they all have it, like, all planned out?
I have no idea. I've been dealing with the producer, and they're very lovely, and they wanted to pull, like, a tape from DC Housewives.
Oh, yeah. Back in the day when you were on that show.
They're like, you're a Bravo OG. I'm like, okay, send me a check. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just happy to be on there with
OG,
right. I'm much of an OG. Can y'all get a new show out of this, please?
Yeah.
Yeah, shit. Bring an OG back.
Well, that's great, though, because they're going to put you on.
I think it'd be great. We'll have fun. We'll hang out. And,
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get the audio so we can play a clip of it. Because they interact with the bartender, right? You're gonna
They do. I'm going to make them interact with me more. Because Portia's on there, and that's my buddy.
Oh, well, perfect.
Yeah.
You've already got an in.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That will be so much fun.
Watch for me.
Okay, we will be definitely watching on Sunday night. There's also a new article out about relationship experts say these are the 8 red flags to look for when you start dating someone. So, Paul, what's your status, by the way, right now? You single? You dating somebody? What's going on?
Well, here's the thing.
Okay. What? This sounds like a
Thanks to the therapy that you have provided me at the Hey Frase with Paul Wharton podcast and the viewer feedback, I am officially dating both Chuck and Renzo at the moment. I've made up with everybody. We're all on and moving together.
Oh my
moving
God.
forward together. No, really. But I did miss Chuck, so we kind of made up. And then Renzo's friend, did I tell you that Renzo, okay guys, so you know Renzo from Brussels.
Yeah, we do,
Brussels
because
and Rome.
most people have been saying, like, oh, it was great that you found Chuck to then get rid of Renzo. But then
Right.
when we talked about it, you were kind of like, look, I think Renzo's had a moment of remorse.
I sent him a
chance.
message and then he responded like, oh, I'll try harder or whatever.
Okay, so he's now trying harder.
He's trying, now it's on my nerves. I'm like, can you give me some space?
You're trying too much.
But you know, Renzo has a friend named Enrico. So Enrico, actually, Sidra, one of my best friends in New York, was visiting Brussels, and I asked Renzo to show her around. He wasn't available. He had his friend Enrico show her around. Then Enrico ends up falling in love with Sidra.
Yes, I
and Sidra was
remember
going to give him a go.
Right.
But, you know, it just hasn't worked out yet. So the other night, Renzo and Enrico were hanging out. This is a lot. Is this too much for the
this
people?
is good. I'm following. I was like right into it. I was like, okay.
So Renzo and Enrico were hanging out, and they're both texting me, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a virtual gangbang. What's going on here? Like, one from Enrico, one from Renzo, one from Enrico. Like, I can't keep up. So he's saying basically, like, Enrico was like, we should all get married, me and Sidra, and you and Renzo, and we would live so happily ever after. And I'm like, well, the one concern.
I mean, I'm open, but.
I mean, what I got riding on it, you know.
But first, does Renzo have help? Has he gotten help in his house
right.
yet?
It seems
and
like
when
I'm
is
going
he
to be
getting
doing
here?
a lot of gardening and shit. You know, I don't really like to do
and all
that.
those cats. Have any of them died?
And those cats are at the country house in Rome, but I'm concerned if they're in Brussels too.
Yeah.
I'm not a cat person.
I
need some cat therapy. Somebody needs to help me become a cat person because I'm just not.
Well, I mean, one cat's different than like 5. I mean, he's got like.
Do you have a cat?
No, we don't. No, God, no.
That's where that was going. So anyway, yeah, that's what he said. And then I said to him, because there's also this conversation, because Enrico's a little younger than Sidra, and Sidra's not having any kids, okay?
Right.
So I said to him, you know, Sidra's not having any kids. I just want to let you know. And he's like, oh, that's no problem for me. I just want to be with her. And he was really serious about this.
Wow. Yeah, she should like follow that. It seems like when someone's that madly in love, that's great.
Fall in love and move forward, and then I'm out there. I'm like the best man. I'm, you know, never the bride.
Well, but I feel like that's just on you, right? Because you could have anybody you wanted, but I think you're still in growth mode. Your career's taking off, like you're having this great moment, so you're just not ready. I mean, that's not your focus. You know, you say it like
right.
and of course you want to find love, and you found 2 people that could end up being one of them could be amazing, but is that what you really want right now?
No. I'm totally just no, absolutely not. No, I'm in it for a good time, great experiences. I want to travel.
Yeah.
So, you know, to me, Renzo's life is interesting because he lives over there. Now, he is totally sciencey, and he gets on my fucking nerves with those quizzes that he gives me. You know, he'll tell me something, then he gives me a quiz.
What kind of quiz? Are these like BuzzFeed quizzes?
Well,
like,
when I was in Rome, we're walking down the street, and he's telling me about the quadrants and how Rome was built, and the churches and this, and then he's like, I'm like, oh, I'm looking at the moon. Isn't it romantic? And he's like, and then this church, and then this architect did this. Yeah, and then I'm
Renzo.
like, oh, this is so sweet. And then later he's like, so what's down there? I'm like, oh God, there's a quiz too? Oh no, you and I are never gonna work out.
Limoncello. That's all I would want. Limoncello.
Right. I'm just really good at acting like I'm interested in what's going on.
Well, for anyone that's single and for Paul, but I feel like you would recognize these anyway. Here are supposedly the 8 red flags when you're starting to date, what you need to be looking out for. You justify their bad behavior. If you find yourself in any way justifying what he does or says, even though these feel wrong in your gut, that is a surefire red flag. They don't talk through issues. I'd say the one major red flag in a person's behavior that may indicate that the relationship won't work is an unwillingness to talk through issues big or small. That's a good one too.
I have a friend that called me about that in his relationship.
Really?
Yeah, he's having that problem.
Oh, they're constantly testing your boundaries. Run from anyone who attempts to cross a boundary that you have set. Examples. You've said you do not want to go further sexually and they insist. I have a girlfriend who's going through this right now. I was telling you about. This guy only wants butt sex.
Ooh.
And she is... Oh, is that like a big drop? Everyone's like,
okay.
Whoops.
No, you got my attention. Set the scene.
He will not stop. He is obsessed. Like, she has told him, she's like, they've only been dating 3 months. Okay, right? So they were having regular sex, but about a month ago, he dropped the butt. I really want butt sex, right? So, first of all, I'm like, I don't know. I think, like, okay, do you guys think maybe I'm being prudish? But I think 2 months in to make that request is pretty big. These guys don't live together. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that's like a strong request 2 months in? Or do you think that's, I mean, not...
Wrong audience.
Right.
Ask those girls.
Right, it's like first date. Are we doing this from the back or not? I don't know. No, for me, it's like...
That's a little strong, right?
Way too soon.
I would say like 5 months in.
What does he not want to get
in.
pregnant? Is that what it is? Does he have a total fear about her getting pregnant?
She says he just apparently tells her that he likes the way that it feels much better.
I can't hate on the guy for that.
She's wide as well. She has a wide vagina. So that's not
very
tight.
wide vagina.
A wide set vagina.
Very wide. So, but I'm like... to me, that's a red flag. And he will not stop. Like, he'll like bring it up, he'll drop it for a week, and then brings it up again.
Well, she's desperate then. Because she doesn't want to let him go.
Do you think she should walk?
She's desperate. If she doesn't want it, if she doesn't like that, if that's a deal breaker for her, she needs to let him go. But she won't.
She says she likes everything else about him. That he's like, great, they have so much fun when he's not pressuring. Well, you got to take that part too. Oh, that would drive me nuts. I don't even know. You say that you're not available on Sunday, but they push to see you anyway. You're not ready to have them meet your family members or friends, but they push for that. That's major red flag. They have a massive sense of entitlement. Also makes a list. Something in your gut feels wrong. Everything is about them. One major flag in relationships is when everyday life events, conversations, and basic interactions are frequently about that person. Oh my God, I've dated that man so many times. Oh, wow. They're overly critical about their previous partners, and they constantly deny, criticize, or dismiss you. God, that sounds awful. Who would ever put up with... See, the problem of these stories is like, no one's ever all those things at once. They're just one. Sure. So you're like, oh, is that enough of a reason? It's like the butt sex dude. Like, butt sex man, is that one thing enough to like disregard the fact that he treats her great? Except for he's obsessed with the butt.
I thought it was kind of interesting, the critical of their former relationships. You know, John Stamos just got married, right?
Yes,
you see that in the news?
Yes.
So he just got married, and he was saying to the press, oh my goodness, there was no point in my life I could have ever attracted a woman like this. I never thought I could have a woman like this in my life. I've always wanted to be married and have a family, and I finally found the right woman. Well, wait a minute. You know, he was married to Rebecca Romaine from 1995
oh my
to
God, I forgot about those
2003
two,
or 5 or something. I mean, they were married a good long time.
Yeah.
So what does that say publicly? When you are in a public relationship with someone like that, two celebrities, and they say, oh, I finally found the one. I never thought I could have anybody like this. Oh, I finally found the one I wanted to have my kids. You know, well, we just saw you with this other person.
I mean, I think it's... I don't know. If I were Rebecca Romaine, she obviously seems very happy with Jerry O'Connell. So... I wouldn't take it personally. I mean, obviously it didn't work. You know what I mean? Like, and it was the same Brad Pitt used to say that about Jen Aniston.
You think he was trying to send that signal a little bit? Like, maybe he's a little bit bent because she is having such a great life, and she did go on to have twins.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Yeah. And she took that Stamos off quickly. She was Rebecca Romaine Stamos,
well,
and now she's like Rebecca Romaine.
Nightmare too. I don't know. They all are, I feel like. Look, we get a ton of your email. We always try to read them, and we always try to respond. We have 3 really good ones. We'll start with our friend Ian, who wrote... And I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. But, a couple weeks ago, obviously, Paul had a really very personal moment about basically his encounter with Kevin Clash, who was the dude who was Elmo. And Paul basically had a memory that essentially the encounter wasn't as nice as you remember.
It wasn't as consensual as I romanticized it to be, leading over all this time.
Well, Ian disagrees with you. Ian has a sad face and writes, I do not think Kevin Clash did anything wrong. And no, he was not fired. He resigned. In fact, he forced himself to due to those awful false allegations. And I was totally against it. In fact, I still am. Since after that awful thing happened. And I think Paul Wharton is lying. Yeah, he is lying. And he and some other people are the ones who set up and ruined Kevin Clash's life and career. This was Kevin Clash's dream to have this particular career until it just got ruined. I myself miss Kevin Clash and his performance of Elmo, and I don't like the new voice of Elmo at all. I just want Kevin Clash to come back to be Elmo again already. In fact, that's just my wish. I'm getting sick and tired of this. Well, that's my rant. And of course, I am beyond ticked.
Okay, well, I'd love for her to have a FaceTime with me. That'd be great.
I think it's Kevin himself, honestly.
Is that Ann or Ian?
Oh, I-A-N. Ian?
Ian. Ian. Like a man, probably.
That's what I think, too. Isn't it Ian? Like a guy? Well, I mean, that's why I think it's Kevin, but okay.
Ian, listen, actually, I'm not lying, and I didn't conspire to ruin his career because I've never said anything but kind things about him over all these years when I knew deep inside that he was an asshole. And then later to find out that he had gone after all those young kids, 17 years old, some of them
16,
18,
I think, too, was like the youngest, yeah.
So, I don't think that it was false at all. And as soon as I heard it, I said, okay, that makes sense.
Hey, look, the guy was like, he settled with these people. I don't think he never went to court. They would never press charges, but he settled. He had to resign. I mean, Ian, you're always welcome to share your opinion, but I think there's a lot of evidence there. And the dude has never been able to resurrect.
I'm lying.
You're not. Nobody thinks you're lying.
No, but I mean, this crazy motherfucker.
Okay, well, we're moving on.
But if they'd like to show their face, I'd love to FaceTime with them.
They don't have a face profile. That's why I think it's Kevin.
Ian or Ann or whatever your name is, if you would like to FaceTime with me and have this conversation, and if you could tell me what his dick looked like, because I know what Elmo's dick looks like, okay? How about that?
It's red and furry.
It's red and furry. Hey, Elmo.
Elmo, happy.
This is too much. Okay, now Ian's going to come looking for us.
Okay, yeah, sorry, Ann, we're moving on. All right, here's another one who's a brave mom who basically is admitting that having kids may not be a great idea. You guys know it's an ongoing conversation on this show that I'm like back and forth. I love Dan so much. I definitely want to be with him, but the whole kid thing really stresses me out because I think it's very hard to do your career well and raise a kid and be a good mom, but that's just me. She writes, hey, Sarah, just listened to the podcast, and I have input about if you regret having a child. I look forward to every Wednesday, sometimes Thursday, to hear you and Paul and your great stories. I never wanted any kids. Now here I am at 40, and I have 3. 2 girls who are 21, 16, and a boy 9 months. Yes, 9 months. Before I say I regret any of them, I do love them all, some days less than others, but they make me happy, and as I see them grow, I feel proud. Here comes the regret part. The girl's father ended up being a literal piece of shit. So after being together for 13 years, I went my own way. I've raised the girls basically alone, but they've grown up to be very smart and caring, seemingly okay, despite not having a dad in their lives. We lived most of their life with my dad, with their dad, I believe. Oh, no, sorry, with her dad, the woman that's writing, who just passed away in November. So the past few months have been tough, but they are pretty helpful. So they had a real male role model. Now with my new baby, I regret not being more responsible beforehand. I love his little smiling face, especially after a hard day of work, but I also worry he will have a less than great life, and that it's just not fair to him. His father was great fun when I didn't need to be responsible with him for him. He's not just mentally capable. I don't think the dude understands actual grown-up responsibility. He's kind of a doofus, and he has about 2 bills: rent and a cell phone.
Prepaid cell phone.
And a prepaid cell phone. Does not pay me support regularly or consistently. He's very selfish and wants to be together with me, but he's not too supportive emotionally. So she goes on and says that I really hope that the father grows up, and my son grows up not to be an F-up like his dad, and I hope this made some sense. Include whatever you want if it helps.
Wow.
Well, thank you. I think that's being honest.
Thank you for sharing.
But don't you think that I read this email and I respect this woman very much for sharing her feelings, and I think but it does not say more about like you got to pick the right partner.
Yeah,
it really
and I was just gonna
sucks.
say, how many people decide to have a baby with someone that they think that they can change? Because she was already saying that she knew that about him before they had kids, right? He was a lot of fun before responsibility came. But unless, you know, I think that somebody like that is not going to say, yeah, let's have a baby. They're probably going to say, no, I don't want to have one.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. And that's why, like, my mom always preached that. It was always about you have to pick the right person. And I will say this, like, this is what gives me a lot of faith is, like, Dan said from the start, like, he wants to be the stay-at-home parent. Mm-hmm. So I'm always like, I definitely need a wife more than I need a husband. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be the stay-at-home mom. Like, I don't want to, you know, but if Dan is willing to do all that, and
Will
he
that
does it
emasculate
already.
him at all? Like
No.
No.
I mean, we're not even going there.
Yeah.
I really don't. Honestly, I'm being
That is
serious.
very
and
healthy.
I could be really wrong, but I actually don't think it does bother him. I think he really wants to be Mr. Mom.
I love it.
He loves laundry. He loves dishes. He loves responsibility and rules.
And you love to work, so it actually could work.
I know. That's
If
why
we
I
can
feel
just
like
get through those 9 months.
I know.
We'll be all right.
God, it seems awful. Oh my God.
Right.
I watched the Kylie video. I was like, oh God, this seems terrible. I don't know. I wasn't relating. I was like,
How much time would you take off once you have the kid?
none. Like 2 weeks. I don't care. I really don't. I mean, like this.
Here come those emails.
People think they're like, don't
We
have a
can
kid.
bond at
You
night.
I mean,
Yeah, right?
I don't know. I just feel like you make it work for what's best for you. And I'm sure once the kid is here, it changes everything. But I was at a Super Bowl party this past weekend, and there was a woman that was pregnant, a woman that brought her kid, and it was really awful. And it was like they all looked to you to like want to hold their kid or something. I was like, I'm getting a beer and going to watch the game, girls.
Right.
Like,
You
your
grab a
kid's
chicken
cute,
wing.
but exactly, I did. I dipped it right in the buffalo sauce. I was like, sweet kid, I'm out. Like, I don't really.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
You'll
gotta give
change
it a
your
go.
mind.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
gotta
I'd give it a go. If I met
not?
somebody that had kids and, you know, I ended up being in that situation where I had to raise them with them.
I really
could be-
need the countdown clock. I wish they offered a service at your gyno where they gave you like the last date that you could potentially be pregnant. Like they just kept counting down. That would be awesome because I would like that one. I
We'd have all
wouldn't.
kind of anxiety.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, awesome. I've got until 38 and 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
So at 38, I'd be like fucking like mad and just getting pregnant.
Oh my God.
But until then, you were like, okay, last email before the end of the show. Also, we talked about my Adderall addicted friend. Many people were very touched by that, I guess, which is, I always think that's good and bad. I think it's hard because a lot of people can relate to addiction stories, which is very sad how many people are going through it. And then also, I was really grateful for a lot of the advice. But some people did feel like I was a little bit insensitive toward my girlfriend who, and this was back in episode 222, which was last week, I think, or was it 221? Does anyone know? 222, was that it last week? Yeah. I have a girlfriend who's going through Adderall addiction and got like about 5 days sober, but then decided she was going to have to go back on it. So one woman writes, "Hey Sarah, I was just listening to the podcast and your story about your friend and Adderall. Such a tough situation, but try to think about it as a disease as opposed to a choice. If she's been abusing as much as you think, it's very likely her brain chemistry has completely changed." That's a good point. Obviously, on some level, it's a choice because she isn't trying to get help, but addiction indeed is a disease. Maybe encouraging using less or going to a therapy NA group would be better for you. I think being disappointed is totally normal. I think you can let her know that, but it's important to try to support her any way you can. In some ways, addiction is the absolute hardest thing to deal with. I totally agree with that, and you have a really great point.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for that. Paul, we will
Yes.
be watching you this weekend on Watch What Happens Live. And of course, everybody can come out anyway and see you and wish you good luck.
Yeah, see me on Friday night.
1000%. And then, yes, Friday Night Mervis.
The Mervis, 5 to 8,
o'clock.
1700 KC. We're going to have so much fun.
All right, you guys, we love you. Follow us on social media. Get on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review.
Yes, and tell your friends about us.
Tell your friends. All right, everybody. Adios. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Tune in, Sarah Fraser on the mic and she about to begin. The co-host with the most born one looking fleek. Take it from me, you should be listening. Live from the nation's map, pop culture at its best.